but I do want to get back into the LA fires right now because we have more of a connection to this than a lot of people realize, not just because the homeless left is right here in Los Angeles. It's because the homeless left has been here in LA covering these type of disasters in other locations like Lahaina, which you guys know, we've been out there. We've been looking at that from the ground, going into the no-go zone. You're not allowed to go in. We went in anyway. We looked at the rubble. We looked at it. One of the reasons we're able to have access and go there and make something happen is because of one of our other correspondents who is here with us, back with us today, who's done some great work on Lahaina and the Lahaina fires. And now we are just going to discuss the relationship with Lahaina to LA. I'm very much looking forward to this discussion, going down a rabbit hole again. Please welcome back to the show, Stephanie Pierucci.
Hello, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. As always, it's good to be here.
Absolutely, Stephanie. Good to have you here again. We have done some adventures together, focusing on Lahaina, some other stuff as well. But that story never goes away. There's people that wanted us to kind of stop talking about Lahaina because it was wasn't that already solved and we already figured that? No. And you stayed on the story. You have can you tell us about the current project you have going still with that in art? Because we're finding different ways to tell that story, whether it's documentary storytelling, publishing, writing, getting the human story out there. Where are you with that right now? And then I want to move into how is that relating to what we're dealing with right here in LA over this last week with the LA fires?
Yeah, I mean, right now my phone is ringing. I should probably put it on silent. My phone is ringing absolutely nonstop because everybody is now saying, hey, Steph, you wrote the playbook for land grabs. And I did it over the course of 2 books, Burn Back Better, as well as Sound the Alarm. And now everyone is saying, wow, you know what? You actually weren't crazy. They're burning down LA right now. And it looks like everything that happened in Lahaina is happening again in Palisades and other places in Southern California. So what we're looking at right now, from what's burning, what's not, the patterns, the satellites, I mean, the behavior of the government, the behavior of the mayor, everything is almost identical to Maui. And at the end of Sound the Alarm, I said, y'all, watch out. If you're in a zone that is going to be redeveloped or they have plans to redevelop it for a smart city, you better move. I have people calling me today saying, I'm putting my house on the market. You were right. They're going to level it. If they didn't already level it by fire, they're going to get me right after the fire.
Yeah. No, you were 100% out in front of this. And I can imagine your phone's blowing up right now because it's like, this is the see, I told you moment that we're seeing in real time. And we're here in LA watching it happen right here. We've had some in-depth conversations about it. One thing I learned from you, Stephanie, and we had the courage to do this together, was not wait for some time to go by, not do this whole fall for this line. You guys have heard this line. You guys know what I'm going to say, that now is not the time or too soon. Mm-hmm. We don't fall for that garbage. We ask the questions that need to be asked immediately. And we've been doing that for this last week here in LA, as we're in the middle of 2 fires that are still going. We have 2 fires. We're in the middle of them right now, the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, still not even close to being contained. Not even close. We're still at the containment right now. According to the Watch Duty app right now, Palisades is still only 17% contained. It's burned through 24 acres. It's insane. Total in California, we've lost 12,000 homes and businesses over the last course of a week. 12,000 gone. Yep. This is insane. The damage, we're seeing estimates of $160 billion in estimates. And we've already seen the rent hikes. We've seen Newsom pushing the zoning changes, getting rid of single family units. We've seen there's so many red flags here. It's unbelievable, Stephanie. And I don't even have to tell you, like you're not surprised at all. You saw this coming. Did you see this coming though? I got to play you this clip of Newsom literally telling us about a conversation with none other than, drumroll, Josh Green.
Oh,
He's telling us about their conversation. Let's take a look. This is insane. He's telling us. We don't even have to ask the question. He's answering it for us. Check it out. Here's some and watch the swaying too. The guy loves to sway. Here we go.
Myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
In a matter of days, not just weeks. Yeah, because this has probably been planned for years. And the other thing about that swaying, do you remember when Bill Gates got on air in March of 2020 and he said, we're going to get a vaccine, and he and his wife are giggling and smiling, and they have no chill. Like, they're the worst liars ever. It's, if they're not telling us we planned this, we're going to make a killing, we're going to rake in millions, if not billions of dollars on this scam, they're telling us with their body language. He's giddy. Yeah.
Oh, he's totally giddy about it. Some people are saying that body language means that he's nervous. He's like no, he's actually excited because he thinks that this is good. He thinks he can use this type of language. And another clip I don't have in front of me, he's talking about LA. We're going to rebuild LA 2.0. I mean, this sounds right out of the WEF playbook. I'm going to play that. We played this earlier in the show, but I want to get this one up for you again, because I don't know if you saw, we're trying to connect the dots here in LA specifically about the 2030 plan. And I kid you not, Klaus Schwab himself said out loud, this is the plan for LA for 2030. I want your thoughts on this. If you haven't seen it yet, here we go. This is, LA plan for 2030. Here we go.
Yes, Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
2030 LA, because we have so much traffic, so condensed, so much population, so much. We gotta rebuild everything by 2030. This is 5 years from now, Stephanie. Is anybody else connecting these dots? I mean, obviously the people that have been paying attention to Lahaina, and these are the conversations, the people blowing up your phone right now. These are people that want to know about this. Do you suspect it all? Because I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing people new to the table that were completely unengaged up until now. Now they're waking up. I don't see a transformation just yet. I'm hoping so. Are you getting any text? I guess I want to ask you, are you getting any texts from anyone who's never reached out to you about Lahaina or anything else until the LA fires? Or is it the same people that are already awoke?
That's a really good question. I've had a lot of people who have called and said, I'm worried. Like, I had someone call this morning from a parking lot, and she's freaking out and getting nervous. And she's like, well, what do you think? Is Boulder next? Is Austin next? I'm like, yeah, look at your local legislation, look at what bills are being proposed, look at what, is on the table in your local government. And if they're being assertive about a smart city development, get out of town. It's really clear that all of these different places, Acapulco included, with, Hurricanes John and Otis. I mean, these are all places where they were being assertive about the smart cities. And so most of the people who are seeing these fires, they have already woken up. And what we saw in Maui also is the same thing we've seen in California. It's one of the most indoctrinated states when it comes to climate change. And so people who believe in climate change, people believe these are natural fires, they're going to double down on that, because there's been so much programming and propaganda for them to think, well, this is our fault because, we're driving cars, for instance, to refer back to that Klaus Schwab clip. But I have a friend that I spoke with a few minutes ago. She said, my home is on the proposed railway line. Although it would surprise me if they let you travel by rail more than 2 miles from your house eventually, because they're going to make these prison camps where you have to walk everywhere. And she said, I'm putting my house up for sale immediately because they're going to demolish it somehow.
Yeah. So I would say this, if the climate change people are going to just double down on that, how do they explain the part about the reservoirs being dry? How do you explain the insurance companies dropping people? How do you explain the Newsom just money going missing? $26 billion was missing. We covered that before New Year's. We were covering 26 billion gone that was supposed to be for homelessness. That's gone. How do you explain Karen Bass with nothing to say? She was out of the country. She comes back. The paper trails a mile long about all the cuts of the fire department, the 17.6 million gone, firing people for not putting a jab in their shoulder. All of this, there's so many red flags. That if you were to take it for face value, Stephanie, if you were going to say, look, we still believe that climate change is the number one problem here, how do you maneuver? How can you circle that square about the fact that nobody did anything to prepare? So like, if we go with it, we say, no, this was inevitable. We should have seen it coming. Nobody was doing anything about it. So why didn't you do anything? The Democratic leadership of this state was supposed to be for climate change policies. Why wasn't that reservoir full? Let's just start with that. Why the hell wasn't that reservoir filled? And how can somebody who believes in climate change not understand that that's something that you don't seem to have an answer for?
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the water, there was all this. The waterways were restricted to protect smelt, and so what you're seeing is a lot of people are saying, well, the reason we have this problem with the water is because we have this problem with, the fisheries and the biodiversity, and we have problems with, the atmosphere, and we're just we're just trying to keep afloat, and we're just trying to save the world, and the climate's changing. And so they're not associating this with, well, no, we diverted water. Same thing on Maui. We diverted it. What you see here is this classic allegory of the cave scenario. So you've got these people who are looking at shadows. They're not seeing the fact that we relieved all these firefighters of duty. I think it was 300 firefighters were relieved of duty for not taking the jab. Yep. They're not seeing the fact that we restricted water due to this smelt population protection program, whatever it was. They're only seeing shadows, and the shadows are telling them we're doing everything we can, but the climate change is so big and so powerful that we can't even stop it. We're getting buried. There's nothing we can do. They're only seeing shadows. So they're not talking about firefighters. They're not talking about Karen Bass. They're not talking about any of the Smart City LA. The Olympics, the 2028 Olympics for LA, they planned on redeveloping Palisades in order to create more structures for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Where? You've been there. Where are you going to build? Where's that land coming from?
Yeah.
It wasn't there. It was pretty densely populated. You built about everything you can build. So people just aren't connecting those dots because they're only looking at the shadows. They're only seeing the fake news, the propaganda stuff. If they haven't learned to ignore those shadows, if they haven't learned how to find the truth, so to speak, or if they, if they don't know where to look, I don't know if they're going to look by now. It's just really the point where it's up to us who are awake, who are looking at the truth, who saw thousands of homes leveled into white ash and are asking, how on earth did a natural fire get hot enough to level homes, turn them into white ash, to burn hundreds of homes simultaneously, which is completely odd, while leaving trees and, coincidentally, blue trash bins untouched. If people, this is a really, there's no scientific explanation for things being reduced to white ash in a brush fire or a natural fire. It's not possible. It needs to burn so hot. If people aren't asking these questions, if they think this is natural and they want to continue to believe this is natural and Mother Earth is mad at us, just don't know if they're going to wake up at this point. We've just got to move forward. And the people who are awake, get them out of these places where they're planning these smart cities.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just, if people that haven't seen the images, we were gonna throw this up front and do something with it, but I think it just needs to be played raw. We haven't showed this clip. This was sent to me. I don't know if it made it on Twitter or not, but somebody sent this to me. I'm just making, man, I have so many different stuff to look through. It's crazy, Stephanie. We've been on this the entire week, barely been having any sleep, checking up on people, seeing their status, people still in evacuation mode, or on standby. There's still people on standby with their bags packed. They still don't know where this wind is blowing right into their backyard. It's still a week later. And so
they won't know because the wind is going in two different directions. That's what's really frightening right now. It's completely unnatural. There's wind crisscrossing. And what you'll see is in a hurricane, wind is going in one direction. In natural weather patterns, the wind is going in one direction. Right now, we're seeing it come from multiple directions. This is something that we've seen in other disasters that is unnatural and makes absolutely no sense. Winds are not going to move in multiple directions. And so where is the wind going to go? We've got our bags packed. There's no way of predicting it based off meteorology because something fishy is happening with the weather.
Yeah. Well, let's look at what it actually looks like from inside. I don't know if you call this a burn zone. This is a disaster zone. We are literally in a disaster zone, guys. This is insane. Watch this. It's insane. I mean, he was telling this. It's just insane that he's admitting this, and Kamala had to interrupt him. I don't know if you saw that clip. Kamala had to interrupt him and say, "Oh no, but Biden, just like what remember we were talking earlier. Come on, Grandpa Joe, remember we were talking earlier about the climate change thing and North Carolina with the hurricane." And so Kamala's she brought up North Carolina accidentally, thinking it was going to distract me. Oh yeah, that one looked also like a disaster zone. It all looks like a destruction, like it was like a war zone. He called it a war zone.
Right.
No, you're not. No, Mr. President, you're not supposed to use that language. War zone. But that's what it is. We're seeing this footage was sent to me. I don't know. I guess the guys handled it that shot it and edited and put this on. But the point is that is in our backyard. That's right here. This is happening right now. And how can we not have these questions? How can we not be asking what the hell? Who wanted this to happen? This is insane, Steffi. I
think I told you offline. One of my dreams the other night, I was just sitting there praying, and I thought, what if we can find one of these guys with the blowtorches, one of these arsonists? And it was similar on Maui. We had arson as well as weather engineering, as well as what appears to be directed energy. We have a similar, the playbook is almost identical, it looks like, in California, where we have arsonists in addition to other things that were put in place, actually starting fires. And some of them have been caught on camera. I don't know if that's because people are more aware and they're pulling out their phones or whatever, because They're more skeptical now. They've seen this happen in a few different places over the last 18 months or so. But I want someone to catch one of these arsonists and sit them down and do some sort of crafty cowboy lie detection and get them to talk and tell them, you know, and let us know who's behind it, because we are not interrogating these people.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. I didn't even think this is interesting, because people's instinct when they see the arsonist, their instinct is to get them, restrain them. It's called a citizen's arrest, where you hold them down, you call the police. Problem is, when the police arrive, you give them over and the police let them go the next day. I'm not shitting you guys. I had to say it. I'm not shitting you guys. This is actually happening right now. We played this. I'm going to do this again. If you didn't see this, Stephanie, this is the townspeople getting together for a citizen's arrest. And I'm going to show you what happened the very next day. So check this out. Yeah, there's no sound at the beginning, but you're going to hear the people talk about it. Like, we got them. Like, and this is people saying, we saw you. We saw what happened. Now, you can think this is just a dude on his own, whatever you want to say, copycat, mental illness, homeless, sociopath, whatever you want to say. You can pretend it's on his own. But look what happened. So the town, and rightfully so, they're proud of themselves for being heroes and giving this guy over.
This Hills fire, because that was started at a parking lot. He's going to come over here and light up this area.
Oh my gosh. No, this is crazy. I can't even believe it, because I'm like
a 30-year-old guy, you know.
Crazy, because I'm like, how does a fire jump literal cities?
I know.
Yep.
I can understand there, but all the way over
Exactly.
to Hills,
That doesn't make any sense. Okay.
all right.
Thanks for letting me know, guys.
Yeah.
And what happened next? The very next day, check this out. Same guy.
They responded, they interviewed this suspect. After the interview and additional investigative steps, looking at some additional evidence that was present, they made the determination that there was not enough probable cause to arrest this person on arson or suspicion of arson, and therefore this person was arrested on a felony probation violation. This investigation is ongoing, however, and I'd like to thank those community members that were involved in this and helping us bring this person to our attention, and so we can have an ongoing investigation.
So we can ignore him.
Second point I want to talk about.
So I think you were right there, Steph. That's not. Next time, don't.
Those citizens need to take homeboy, put him in a room with no windows, and do some cowboy interrogation. That's what I'm praying for.
Yeah. Now, if we're going down the rabbit hole, let me put the banner up. I like this one. You like it. This is the we are going down the rabbit hole. Here we go. Going down the LA fires. Okay. So with that, I would say, if there's something, we've talked about MK Ultra on the show before. We've had Mel K on. We've discussed this lengthily of the ability we have. We know these techniques, these military techniques. They could go way back to the 40s. We got them from the Nazi Germany. We've implemented into our CIA. We understand that even if you did that, Stephanie, I mean, it might be some wishful thinking if you think, okay, we're going to do some cowboy style, but what happens if these people are, I'm not saying this particular one was, but I'm saying it's very likely there's people out there that are mentally in a position where they're doing something that's beyond their control. And after they're done doing the thing, they're not going to have much memory of it. And we know this, we've seen this happen with assassinations. We know Mark David Chapman's in jail right now for killing John Lennon. He has no memory of it. We know that RFK Jr. even apologized. He what did he say? He accepted, he forgave the murder of his Sirhan Sirhan. He did that for his murder of his father, of RFK Sr., and said he understood that there must have been something else at play. So do we even have the power, even with that great idea you had, Stephanie, do we even have the power to fight this type of advanced military operation? If even you get somebody in a room, are they even going to have the ability to tell you what they didn't even know what they did? And again, we're just speculating here, but we know this technology is available. If this doesn't work, what else can we do?
Well, you've got all of these intrepid citizen journalists on Maui who have gotten a lot further along than you or I will ever go. In fact, they know things you and I don't want to know. And they're approaching this new government as we speak to say, we think we know who's at the head of the snake. We think we know who is behind this. And so I agree, if these people are MK Ultra, if that's like a verb, but if these people are MK Ultra and they're not going to remember anything, the good news is there are paper trails. Even though this was so well planned, it seems, there are paper trails and there are people following those trails. So you look, for instance, on Maui at the Maui Community Investigation Team. These people are working day and night to get, they're interviewing nonstop. They're collecting evidence. They've got thousands of hours of footage from, fires, et cetera. They've got, defected whistleblowers, whatever. I don't want to know everything. I want to be able to connect the surface level dots for the people who are doing the hard work, because that's not me. I'm not on the ground in LA. I'm not on the ground in Hawaii. But I agree with you. We might not be able to get the actors, so to speak, to tell us what's going on, but we can connect dots and then, eventually figure out enough to do two things. Number one, we need to provide evidence to the teams that are investigating, who do have their mouths up to the current administration or the upcoming administration's ear. And so putting together these dots is critical. And then number two, we have to do everything we can to vote down anything related to the sustainability and the smart city and all of this. Now they're pushing these things through in communities under the guise of affordable housing. So there's all these really sweet, right? Because they're not showing up as a wolf. They're showing up dressed as a lamb. They look really sweet and fluffy and innocent, but they're little devils. And so we got to be aware of how bills and how resolutions and how legislation is getting passed through. And it's because it's sugar coated.
Yeah, 100%. There's one thing before I let you go, Stephanie. There is one last thing, and this is a hopeful topic, because there is one thing we can do 100% right now for ourselves if we find ourselves in a situation like we're here in LA. And I know you've been covering this topic, obviously, because I introduced it earlier with the Lahaina investigation team telling these stories of these disasters that are happening to us, not just because they're happening to us intentionally. You're also in the health and wellness community, the medical freedom community, and we understand how important our health is right now, dealing with the breathing of the air. Isn't it interesting, Stephanie? And I'll tell this to the viewers. Do you guys think of this? Isn't it interesting? For 4 years during COVID, they boarded up basketball hoops. They put sand in skate parks. They told us to stay home, don't go outside, 6 feet from each other, wear 3 masks, wear 4 masks. It's your health. It's your health. It's your health. Never once mentioning the things we knew: vitamin D, sunlight, body contact, physical activity. The list, we've covered this so many times on the show. Isn't it interesting in a time like this that here we are? We're in LA here, and I have not heard one mention of the environment, the atmosphere that we are breathing into our lungs. If you want to talk about cancer-causing stuff and stuff that's going to be bad for our health and cause death and disease and horrible stuff, not to mention, kind of makes you wonder, maybe they never really cared about our health in the first place.
Every year, hundreds of firefighters, hundreds of former healthcare workers, first responders, Good Samaritans are dying of cancers and leukemias that are directly attributed to the 9/11 event over 20 years ago. And so one of the things that whenever I'm asked on radio, podcast, whatever, to give my opinion about the most important thing that people need to know about the Lahaina fires, I tell them 120,000 lives are at risk on Maui. Every single person within a 50-kilometer radius of a fire like this is inhaling extremely deadly, toxic particulates. They go into the lower lung. They are indetectable. And so one of the things that the Firefighter Cancer Prevention Fund helped develop with an organization called DCOMPAC was a way to, hopefully as best we can, detox or eliminate some of these toxins. Every single person within a 50-kilometer radius of any of these fires needs to be taking something like DCOMPAC. I'm sure you can spend more money elsewhere, but DCOMPAC is basically sold at cost. It's like $20 per quarter. And I'm taking it just because I've been close to fires here in Colorado, right, and because, you know, we were in the burn zone together in Hawaii, but I'm taking it quarterly. And I'll tell you what, it's better than almost anything I've spent so much money on, you know, parasite cleanses and heavy metal cleanses. This stuff is phenomenal. Everyone within a 50-kilometer radius of the fires needs to be taking this, because right now, people who were near 9/11, oh my gosh, over 20 years later, are still dying of complications due to the event in New York. So I would say DCOMPAC, far and away most effective thing that I've seen, and it's recommended by people I trust who are in disaster recovery. The first person who told me about this, it was Sam Eaton and Steve Slepcevic, and they have worked in more fires than anyone. I mean, they're at every disaster. And so they recommended this to me. And I can't recommend it enough to people, but I can't force people to buy it. I wish I could just get the public health departments to care enough about the people to recommend that people get something like DCOMPAC.
Yeah.
But public health, I wouldn't call them serving the best interest of our health.
Right.
So this is what has been recommended to me from the world's leading disaster response recovery teams.
Yeah, no, this is great. And this goes back to, you said, to 9/11, because we still have people still suffering from that. And so a lot of time and effort and research and you know, heart and soul and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears has been put into this to get this, because we're not getting this from our public health officials. We know the gameplay. It's the sick care system, not the healthcare system. We know they don't actually want us to detox. They don't want us to intermittent fast. We talk about this all the time. The things that actually cleanse us. So I'm looking at this right now, Stephanie, and I'm saying, man, oh man, we're here right now in LA, and like we have an air purifier here in the house. Me and Leslie, it's good to have that when we're inside, but outside is awful. And like, even if we can't see the smoke so much as we could a few days ago, this is in our lungs now. You were talking about small little particles. You know, now would be, hey, if you want to implement mandates on masks, wouldn't it now be the time, Gavin Newsom, Fauci, for LA, if you wanted to? That's so funny they didn't do that, or that they did that to us at the wrong time for a virus that could go right through a mask. This maybe, I don't know. Can I ask you about that? Do you think an N95 would actually stop some of this? Because I'm going to order this thing too, but I don't know. I'm unsure. I'm unsure what to fully know about this, because nobody is telling us. Like, this is all we got, and I'm going to go to this website and get this, but I'm so,
for a variety of reasons. I've been told the N95 is not going to be as effective as what you need. But I'm not a doctor, so we can talk to, you know, maybe an infectious disease specialist. You can have Dr. Kelly Victory on your show at some point. She would be the person to ask. I can put you guys in touch, but the thing that's more frightening, Matt, about where you and your beautiful bride Leslie live is the fact that during 9/11 we were not constructing consumer goods and tchotchkes with as many synthetic materials, and that stuff is more toxic and than if we were just constructing things with like wood let's say. So it's actually more dangerous today than it was 20 some years ago, because we're using more synthetics in the construction of furniture, et cetera. So I don't know if the N95 would help. I would, like I said, talk to Dr. Kelly Victory would probably be a great person to discuss that with. But, you know, it's not the kind of thing where you can go get a blood test and say, oh, really high in aluminum. This is not stuff you can detect from a blood test. I think that's what's really scary, is that it's really, really fine toxic particulates. And because of all the synthetic stuff, it's more harmful. So if public health gives a rat about the public, they're going to tell them that don't wear your mask and think everything's going to be okay. Don't wear your shoes in the house is another really important one.
Oh, we already do that. That's good. That's good. I love it.
Yeah. Don't wear your shoes in the house is really important. But yeah, just get serious about detoxing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. You were the first to have that conversation with me, because no one else is. I mean, obviously we want to make sure people are alive and they're in one piece, but we talk about, hey, at least you're alive and you have your health. Do we though? Like isn't that the first thing you ask with people when they, been in a car accident or something happened to them? You say, but is everyone okay? Right. So we think about physical, then we think about mental. We don't really look at inside. Like we think, are your bones broken? No. Okay. You're good. You feel okay. We'll figure out all the other stuff. We'll figure out the car and the insurance and the, the doctors and lawyers. What about your health? Like the health. So after a fight, so we're having these conversations because no one else is, but we want people to think, to get more used to talking like this right away. So when you're checking in with your loved ones, when you're asking them how they're doing, you should be bringing this up immediately. What are you doing for your lungs?
It doesn't make for a very sexy soundbite, but it doesn't make for the most, salacious content. And that's what pisses me off sometimes about some of our biggest creators on the internet.
Yeah.
Some great podcasts, monster, awesome content creators that I largely respect, but they're not talking about stuff like this because it's just not sexy.
Yeah. Well, we got to do it. We got to do the dirty work here sometimes, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you coming in and helping us with that. Here's some other stuff you guys can do if you're out in other parts of the country. You're seeing what's going on here in LA, and you're looking to help us out. Now I feel bad. This is going to be a punchline. This is a joke. I didn't mean. Okay. Haha. Here's what you guys can do. We need water, guys.
That's so sad.
We need water.
Oh my
God. Fill up your envelopes. Send us some water because Newsom forgot to fill the reservoirs. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. The smelt population needs that water more than y'all. Sorry, California.
But you can do this if you guys want to fill up some. Give us some water. Put it in an envelope. Put your name on it. Love whoever we know where it's from. And send it out. Put it California, and we'll receive it. We'll get it. Put one stamp should do it. Just get it to us, guys. We appreciate it. That's what we could use from you guys right now. Little water.
It reminds me of when I was working in Austin. I don't know, back in like 2010, and a couple guys that I worked with were constantly checking the PO box, and I'm going, what's so important that you got to go to the PO? Are you getting gold shipments, silver coins? And they're checking from California and Colorado if they got their Bud X. they're looking for weed in the mail.
Hey, you got to get your, get it on, like however you can, whatever it takes. So yeah, the mail can be useful, guys, for certain things.
I appreciate traveling with you, Matt. We were just talking about this recently because, we're largely sober, with the exception of the occasional, toast or whatever. But, you're interesting day or night. You're never bonking out and smoking up. And man, here in Colorado, I get real sick of people just not being present, not being interesting, not having good conversations. And that is my soapbox for the day. I have got to go get my little man from school, but I want to let people know that if you do, I know we're having a little bit of fun because it's a serious subject and it's making us uncomfortable, and we have a lot of friends who are in danger. But on a serious note, at themauibook.com, I do have a playbook on the globalists' use of natural, quote unquote, disasters to grab land. And I do use examples besides Maui, including other countries and other continents where similar playbooks have been used. So the entire playbook to steal land through an alleged natural disaster, that is at themauibook.com. But if you're not going to read the book, that's fine. Just make sure anyone you love who's in Southern California grabs Decompact. It means a lot to me that we protect future generations, especially the ones who are awake.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Go to decompact.com. Grab this stuff if you're in the LA area. Grab it for a loved one if you want to send it to them. And actually,
That's right.
real, put that in the mail. Put a stamp on it. They will really, really appreciate it for you. And then, yes, themauibook.com. We love the fact that we're able to tell these stories with you, Stephanie, and that you're out ahead of the catastrophe before it happens. So it's the work's been done. Boots on the ground, going to where we need to go, and there's power in numbers when we do this together. And we're able to do this outreach to so many different communities within the community, or the adjacent communities, as they say.
Yeah.
But we're all doing the same type of work. It's a real populist movement. We don't care what ideology, where you come from, what you're about. It doesn't matter as long as you understand that it's time to take the tribal goggles off and start thinking with our critical thinking skills again, and a real people's movement, challenging the power, challenging the globalists, all those pieces of crap. We're taking them all on together. Thank you, Stephanie Pierucci, again, for your time with us here on The Homeless Stuff. We look forward to having you back with us soon, hopefully in a better time for us to talk more crap on the globalists and keep going with our projects. And yes, MauiBook.com. Check out Stephanie. We'll see you back here soon.
Okay, stay safe. Thank you for having me.